Okay, welcome to day 11 on the TAT.
We're so excited to be here with Sam Correro. He is the one who created the TAT.
He's the godfather.
Yeah, it's the real deal. He was very accommodating to us, so gracious. We had the dinner with him last night and got to stay with him last evening and had breakfast together.
Great stories.
Good deal.
Yes.
Well, I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. So have a safe trip.
Perfect.
Okay?
All right, and we'll see you on the trail.
Take it easy. Bye.
All right, this is test number 5 with just the one side connected.
Direct feed off of his camera.
This is test number 6 with the attenuation cable attached.
He did. You're absolutely correct.
All right, Jack, what do you got?
Okay, we're test.
I hear you coming through my headphones. What we have for you today is another tale from the trail, but it's the ultimate tales, really. It's from the trail master, the trail creator. So we came down this trail, Mississippi, not too far from Sam's house. There was a road closed sign out at the front, but it was all pushed to the side, like it was back open, and the bridge is out. But Jack, I'm going to take a look. Maybe we can get over this pile.
Yeah, I'm just going to see about starting to plan a reroute if need be.
Yeah, check that out. I'll see if we need it. Yeah. Bridge is not out, Jack. They piled this here to stop people from coming through.
Okay,
So we should respect that.
I guess so. I've got a reroute already.
Okay. I'll come join you. Certainly we could ride over it, but not advisable. If they want us to stay out that bad, we'll let it be. Sam Correro made the TransAmerica Trail. In fact, it's still being extended now, almost 40 years later. And it was a real treat to get to spend some time with him. So we'll share some stories with you about things that we learned from Sam. Sam recently had a TAT rider from Iceland, and he showed us a picture of him playing his guitar for him in his house there. He wrote music, songs, and he would write a song about every day what he sees for the day. And he had, I think he said he had one song entitled The TransAmerica Trail, and he's working to put out an album of some of the songs that he wrote as he was traveling to TAT. And Sam hopes to be having get some information about that from that writer here in the future. We intend to check back to see if we too could get a hold of what music might have been created inspired by the trail. The trail has become quite an international interest. He said he hasn't received riders here that he's aware of from Russia or China, but he said pretty much every other country, a lot out of South America, Europe, just a lot of interest of people coming here and riding his trail. So as we were visiting with Sam, he shared his age with us, and when he did that, we were shocked. He looks 20 years younger than what his age is, and still so very active and committed, going out and working the trail and keeping busy every day. It's really a full-time job, he said, just tending to the business of the TransAmerica Trail. Yeah, so he's 83 years old, buying a new bike. Had a lot of questions for Jack because there was a lot of setup on his bike that he was interested in that would match up well with what he's looking at. So very interesting. We also learned that he does a lot of the trail building now in a vehicle, his pickup. He goes out and takes a long weekend or a little vacation, 2 or 3 days, and he'll drive real hard to get to a spot and then spend a day or two working on some trail. He mentioned one of the trails he did in Colorado. He went out and the trail building was so slow that he took a trip to Colorado, built some trail for a few days. I don't know, was it a day or two? And all he got produced was 25 miles or so. It's difficult to build the trail, and so it's amazing to think of the tenacity, the persistence, the endurance he has to stick with it to carve these trails across the country. When I'd heard about the trail, I had imagined that Sam had created it at a younger age, or begun the creation of it at a younger age. In truth, we learned that he started building the trail around 83, 84. He was in his 40s, and it kind of grew up. He was sharing in a dirt bike magazine. He wrote to a dirt bike magazine to ask if they could put in just a few, couple inches in one of their columns of prints on one of the issues, and they said they would do that. And so he wrote about what he was doing. He had started to explore some of the trail, and he got a call from a couple guys. They said they wanted to get a hold of it, and he said, well, how can we do that? What can we pay? He said, well, a couple bucks. And so for a couple bucks, he sent out the trails he had, and that kind of started it. We asked him how is it that he could maintain his interest and perseverance in creating the trail, and he said it was all of the riders, all the riders that interested in the trail, following the trail, talking about it, planning for it, riding it. He just loves that, sharing that experience, and so that's what keeps him motivated forward. So Jack and I'd like to thank all of you who are involved in the TransAmerica Trail, its use, because that is exactly the thing that helps get it built. Sam said that his first website actually came about because of one of the TAT riders, or potential TAT rider. There was a young fellow who was going to a school at up in New England somewhere, and he contacted him. He said, I don't have any money, but here's what I want to do. He said, if you would give me some maps, I will create for you a website. And that's exactly what they did. That's what got him started on having a web presence, was exchanging work for a map. He said in the early days, plotting out the trail was quite time-consuming. There were no GPS. Everything was just time and distance, right? And it was all handwritten. So he would go out and run the trail and stop at every turn and make his notes. Very time-consuming, very intensive. And then when GPS first came out, it was very rudimentary. It would give you lat and long coordinates, but that's about it. But it was better than what he'd been doing, and so he used that for a while to, mark all the intersections and so forth. And of course, nowadays it's easier for him because you can run a trail and come back and use your computer to finish up the work. And it's nice to have the electronic assistance. Yeah, so that was all handwritten. And what he would do, he'd do all of those up, get them in a computer file, take them to a printer in the area who has a very wide printer, and they would print continuous rolled paper. They could do, 20 roll charts at a time, across the width of the printer. And then he would get them back from the printer, and then he would cut them apart. So that's quite a bit of time spent there for him to separate all those roll charts and prepare them for sending out. Jack, it seemed to me that Sam has an appreciation for music. It seemed like wherever we went, in his house or in his truck, there was always music playing. And he said he's doing a little bit of flipping homes. The house that he has is something that he's remodeled. It was in really poor shape when he picked it up, but very well done. And the garage, the shop area out in the back that he's put together is evident that he's very capable in those types of skills. So it looks like we won't be able to get through here. I'm going to go check it out. Make sure we're not going to be a bother to what's going on here. Jack, I would like some of this nice soil back at our place.
Yeah.
Okay, unpassable. All right, thanks. So Jack, he said on that side of the other side of the bridge, they have the road all tore out, so it's not possible for us to get through.
Okay. So we will reroute.
Yes, we will. When we were with Sam, we were talking to him about riding on the trail and conditions that can come up and breakdowns, and he mentioned that of all the time that he's been on the trail, which has been a lot of years, he's never had a flat tire. Sam mentioned to us that sometimes he'll get calls from riders telling about problems in the trail. For instance, maybe a bridge being closed, something like what we experienced here. So what Sam will do, he actually calls to the transportation authority in that area, in that county, to determine if it's something that they're going to be permanently closing or just a repair. So if it's just a repair and it'll be open a few months, he leaves the trail alone. If it's a permanent closure because there's just no demand for that route in terms of residents anymore, then he will remove it from his roll charts and maps and revise everything and have that in his next publication. As we were talking with Sam, he was giving us some advice for what we'll be seeing coming up. Mississippi, saying very rural, which we're seeing now. Arkansas had some very good, beautiful things. He did mention that Oklahoma, he said, is very enjoyable. He said you'll like it a lot if it's dry. However, he said if it's wet, don't even try. Just stay away. We will make that determination when we get there. He also was quite interested in where we had been up to the point of visiting with him and what we had seen. When we mentioned the hydrolock situation we had in the early parts of Tennessee, where my engine got ingested water, he smiled a bit and said, yes, about 50% of those who attempt that run into trouble. So Jack, I think we nailed it, because 50% of us didn't make it through without some trouble. He would have details about various elements of the trail. That one in particular was an example where it's as though he was there yesterday. He said, oh yeah, that's how it looks. He described a couple rocks there that they're kind of next to each other, and he said if you get caught in that, it just stops you. Great memory for detail. He also had a lot of questions for us about our preparation and setup for the bikes and what we had planned for the trip. And when he heard that we were planning to have tires replaced as soon as we got into Colorado, he said, yeah, that's a good thing. He said, you're going to need them. Correct. And so it really is a highlight of the trip. That's something we wanted to do, is stop by and see Sam on this trip. You know, all the effort and time goes into a trip. How can you not stop by and see the gentleman who made it all possible and shares this with everyone? It was a great highlight. We got there, we were able to stop by and see Sam yesterday. Wonderful, wonderful day.